Some of the smartest people don't look smart in the way we expect. They don't always stand out in a room, they don't always sound confident, and they rarely try to prove anything to anyone. In fact, many of them spend a large part of their life wondering why they feel slightly different from others. Not better, not worse, just different. If you've ever felt like your mind works in a way you can't fully explain, this might sound familiar. Because the truth is, a lot of what people call strange behavior is actually just a different type of thinking. And once you understand it, it stops feeling like a flaw. There's a moment many people with high cognitive sensitivity experience, even if they never talk about it. You're in a normal situation, maybe a conversation, maybe just observing people, and everything looks perfectly ordinary on the surface. But your mind doesn't experience it that way. It's not just participating, it's analyzing. It's picking up patterns, inconsistencies, emotional shifts, and hidden meanings that others don't seem to notice at all. And in that moment, a quiet question appears in your head. Why does my mind feel like it's doing more than everyone else's? That question is where everything begins. One of the first strange habits is talking to yourself. Not in a chaotic or random way, but as a form of internal structuring. You explain things to yourself, argue different sides, repeat ideas until they feel clear. From the outside, this might look unnecessary, but internally, it's a way of turning complexity into order. Your mind doesn't think in a straight line. It builds systems. And speaking, even internally, is how those systems become stable enough to understand. Another habit is replaying conversations long after they happen. Not because you are stuck in the past, but because your brain is still processing meaning. You're not just remembering what was said. You're analyzing tone, intent, timing, and subtext. Most people treat conversations as finished events. Your mind treats them as data that can still be interpreted. This is why certain moments keep coming back. Not emotionally, but analytically, as if your brain is still trying to complete something that was left open. Then there's overanalyzing simple situations. A short message, a facial expression, a small change in behavior. Your mind doesn't leave these things alone. It expands them. It explores possible meanings, hidden intentions, alternative explanations. This isn't because you want complexity. It's because your brain naturally searches for structure beneath surface-level information. What looks simple to others often feels incomplete to you. Another strange habit is boredom in environments that others enjoy. It's not that you lack attention, it's that your attention is selective. When something is predictable, repetitive, or shallow in information, your mind disengages automatically. It doesn't struggle. It simply stops investing energy. This can make you feel out of place in situations where everyone else seems perfectly entertained, even though nothing is wrong on the outside. Closely connected to this is the need for solitude after social interaction. It's not emotional withdrawal, but cognitive recovery. When your brain processes more information during interactions than it shows externally, it needs time to decompress. Silence becomes necessary. Not because you dislike people, but because your mind is still processing everything that happened beneath the surface of the conversation. Another habit is noticing contradictions in people almost instantly. When someone says one thing but their tone or behavior suggests something different, your mind picks up on it without effort. This isn't suspicion. It's pattern recognition. You don't choose to analyze it. Your brain simply doesn't ignore inconsistencies. Over time, this makes social environments feel more complex than they appear to others. There is also a strong tendency to struggle with shallow conversations. Not because they are meaningless, but because they feel incomplete. Your mind is waiting for depth, structure, or progression that never arrives. So while others may find comfort in small talk, You may experience it as mentally static, not uncomfortable, just unengaging. And finally, there is constant questioning of your own thoughts. Even when you reach a conclusion, your mind reopens it, checks it again, tests it from another angle. This is not insecurity. It's internal verification. Your thinking process doesn't stop at answers. It evaluates whether those answers are logically consistent. This can make decisions slower, but often more deeply considered. When you look at all of these habits together, something becomes clear. Individually, they seem like quirks or even problems, but collectively, they form a pattern of a mind that is constantly processing, connecting, and analyzing more than what is immediately visible. And this is where many people misunderstand themselves. They assume these traits should be corrected, reduced, or controlled, because they don't match what is considered normal. But what if normal was never the point? What if these habits are not signs of something wrong, but signs of a mind that operates at a different level of detail? The shift happens when you stop seeing these patterns as mistakes and start seeing them as structure. Your mind isn't chaotic. It's active. It's not distracted. It's processing. It's not broken. It's engaged in a different depth of understanding than what is usually noticed or explained. And when you realize that, something quiet changes. You stop fighting your own thinking. You stop trying to simplify yourself into something more comfortable for others. Instead, you begin to understand how your mind actually works. Not in theory, but in everyday life. Because intelligence is not always loud or obvious or socially rewarded. Sometimes it shows up in silence, in observation, in overthinking, in the inability to ignore patterns others never see. And once you understand that, those strange habits stop feeling like something to fix. They start feeling like something to finally understand.